Welcome back programmers in the today's section. In this section we are going to learn PHP from scratch. In this video you are going to learn PHP core from basic to advanced in a single video. Now before we get into this PHP, I would highly suggest you to learn basic of HTML, CSS and basic of any programming language. You can take C, Python and whatever, but basic of any programming language you want. So you must know the basic of any programming language, JavaScript, HTML, CSS. Now with the use of PHP, we can create a dynamic page. Now obviously PHP is used to create a website. With the use of PHP, we can create, stop, delete, read or write this server. Even PHP can retrieve or send a cookies. PHP can modify the database, it can encrypt data. In a simple way, there are lots of ways which we can use PHP in our website. Now in this video, we are not going to install a PHP or create a server or anything. In this video, we are basically gonna go directly into PHP. I am using PHP 8.1 and for that I am using the online compiler repl.com. Link is in the description. As you can see, this is my compiler editor and this is my index.php. Now remember, the extension of PHP is obviously .php, and in this right side, as you can see, this is my output, and REPL will give you this link, and with this link you can open this page in a new tab. But for now we are going to use this simple short display. Now if you ever used any programming language, so the first thing we do in any programming language is to print hello world. Now in here we gotta learn the syntax of PHP first, and for that first we are going to write a simple HTML code. As you can see, this is my HTML, and in here if I wanted to print anything, so what I can do, I can create a h1 tag. I can use h1 tag and I can write anything in here. So this is a simple h1 tag, like my video now. So this is the basic h1 tag, and this is a static page. As you can see, this data is coming from this simple h1 tag. But what if you want to pass the data dynamically in a simple way? What if you wanna pass the data from database or something, or from other third party platform? So what you can do, and for that you can use any dynamic programming language. Now there are lots of ways to create the dynamic page. I mean, if you know Python, you can use the Django, which is the very popular now. In our case, we are going to obviously use the PHP. So if you ever see any website, there are lots of things going on. First of all, now exactly in this example, as you can see, in this beautiful website, there is text, there is color, there is image, there is number, there are lots of things. But basically whatever design and front end are you seeing is coming using HTML, CSS and JavaScript first of all. But the data, which is nothing but this Python is based, and whatever this data with these images is coming from the database. But how with the database? Again, this is an example. Again, this is a beautiful website. There is lots of things going on, just like this is beautiful design, text, images, numbers. So design and whatever text are you seeing in this website is coming through HTML and CSS. But where is it coming from? This is coming from obviously the database, because you can just write a code to create a data. For example, this is Python based, so you have to create this code. And let's say, what if user change its own data, like you can change the Facebook pic just like that. And what if user can change the data? So what you have to do, if this is the static website, you have to remove this code particularly, and you have to put another code. But with the use of dynamic page, what you can do, you can store the data in the database and you can show that data in here using the any dynamic library. So in this section we are going to obviously use the PHP. So as you can see, this is the data, and all of this front end part is coming from obviously HTML, CSS and JavaScript, and the data is coming using PHP. But where is it coming from? From the database, obviously. Now why we need PHP? First of all, obviously you can connect the database using PHP. That's the first thing. There are a lots of other things. You can take a for loop, you can take any condition. There are a lots of APIs available which directly you can use. Okay, so that's why we need PHP. Now in here, as you can see, we have to create a server to run the PHP. Now all of that stuff I'm going to talk in the next video, because in this video we are going to just learn the PHP. We are not gonna learn how the PHP server works. In this video we are going to learn PHP from scratch to advanced. Means you are gonna learn all of the stuff related to PHP, means syntax and whatever. So as you can see, HTML and CSS and JavaScript will use to create a web page, but the data will come from obviously the database, and we will use this PHP to manage the data, convert, change and whatever logic we want to put on our data, and a lots of other uses. Okay, so that was the basic logic of PHP. So as you can see, this is simply H1 tag, and in here I am simply using the H1. Now what if I want to use the PHP for this simple H1 tag? So now let's talk about the syntax of PHP. So let's begin. Now the syntax of PHP is very easy. First of all, you gotta observe where you want to create, where you want to put the PHP code. For example, this is my simple HTML code. I don't want to mess this up, so I'm gonna leave this right in here, and I want to add another line but with the use of PHP. So for that you have to create a block. Block means a container for PHP, and in that block whatever code you will write, it will convert into the PHP code. And for that block, what you can do, you can directly write less than question mark, then PHP, directly write PHP. So this is our starting code, and for the ending code we are gonna write question mark and greater than, means starting and ending. This is our simple HTML connectivity with PHP. So as you can see, this is PHP. We just created the PHP for this particular area. In this area you can write any PHP code you want, and it doesn't matter what code you are writing, you must write the code without errors. So this is our particular block. As you can see, the color is changed to red. Now if you ever learned any basic programming language like C, Java, C++, so you gotta write the semicolon at the end of every line. So in here you have to write at the end of the line semicolon. So let's create our first print. But before that I wanna show you something. Now if you are wondering that can we use HTML code in this PHP code block? So yes, obviously you can do this. For example, if I copy this and paste it in here, so let's run this. I will change this to this is inside PHP. So as you can see, you got this beautiful error, parse error, syntax error, unexpected and whatever. So we got this error because we are simply using the H1 tag. Okay, so what is the problem in here? In PHP, if you wanna create or show anything, you have to write the echo. Now it's an inbuilt function, just like in C we got printf, we got print in Python and so on. So in this PHP we got echo. If you know Linux, you know what is echo. So simply just write echo, then you have to insert quotation at the starting and at the ending, just like think it as a string. If you know Python, you know what is string. So this is our echo, and we just created the simple echo, means simple print for our PHP. And in here as you can see, we just use the echo, then space, then double quotation, or you can use single quotation. Then in here we just write the code of H1. Yes, you can put HTML code in here like H1P whatever in here. Now obviously you have to put the semicolon at the end of every line, so don't forget it. Yes, that's it. In this code, as you can see, we got echo and then our line of text. So we are simply printing this line in here. Now this is the dynamic. Remember, this is the simple static line and this is the dynamic line. So we just created the dynamic page using this single line, and boom, we got this is inside PHP in our output. So basically in here in this console, as you can see, we are using the get request. Now I'm going to talk in this about get and post request later. So this is our console. Now if you ever install PHP in your system, so you'll find this cursor to console 2. So for now I am going to minimize this console. Okay, so this is our output. So this was the very easiest first hello world program using the echo. So basically what is happening in here, now in here we use the PHP programming language to create a simple print. Now what is happening in here, it will compile this line and in a simple way this will extract this line and see what is happening in this line. And in this line, because we are using the echo function, which will do nothing, which will return whatever text we are writing, and it will automatically convert this h1 and whatever HTML and CSS text we are using, whatever tag we are using in this line, and it will convert whatever logic we are doing in here and it will return it to our web page. That's the dynamic page. Okay, so that was it. That was the simple print function. Now what we are going to do, now we are going to use the comment. Now the next thing we are going to do obviously is the comment. Now what is comment? Now in every programming language we need to learn how to comment any stuff. For example, let's say as you can see in here, I'm using the simple print function. So let's say I wanna tell my co-worker or tell my boss or tell other programmer what is happening in this particular code. So what I can do, I can create a comment which will not compile and which will not affect in our program. This comment will help us to observe and help us to see what is happening in that particular code. So for comment there are two types, single line and multiple line. For example, let's say I want to create a single line. So what I can do, I can create 2/ then just write the comment. This is simple print. That's it. That's this is the simple way to create a single line comment. Now if I send this code to other colleague of mine, so he or she can understand what is happening with this line. As you can see, because I write this is simple print, so they can understand it what is happening in this particular code. So this was simple single line comment. But what if you want to create a multiple line comment? Because if I create a new line and write something, so it will give me the error. As you can see, I got this error, parse error, syntax error, unexpected, whatever this text is. And for that, what you can do, you can create a multiple line comment, and for that simply you gotta write /star. This is the starting point, and write whatever you want to write. So I'm going to write this is simple print. So that's it. This is my multiple line comment. Now if I started this, I gotta end this, and for that what I can do, I can create a star and slash. So that's it. /star star slash. For start /star and for end */. With the use of this method you can create a multiple line comment. Okay, so now that you know how to create a comment in PHP, so now let's move on. Now let's talk about the data types variables. Now, there are a lots of data types available in PHP. If you know any programming language, Python, C, C++, Java, whatever, you know if you want to create any variable, you must know what is data type. Now data type is nothing but a different value, and variable is nothing but a container. Now if you don't know what is variable, what is data type, I highly suggest you to learn any basic programming language first, and I highly suggest you to learn Python programming language, which is the best option for you if you are a developer, and Python is the most trending programming language now we got. Okay, so first of all let's create a simple variable. Now to create a variable in PHP you have to learn a basic syntax of it. To create a variable you have to write, if you know Linux you know this, so you have to write $symbol, then the variable name. You can name it anything. I am going to name it, let's say var1, variable 1, equal to, we are going to obviously store some data because this is the container and we are going to obviously store the data. So let's say I want to store 20. So that's it. That's how you can create a variable. And please do not forget to add the semicolon at the end. So that's it. This is our simple variable creation. Now I accidentally put this line in out of the PHP code. So let me adjust this code. So I am going to give a space in at the end of the PHP. Now I am going to put this in here. So as you can see, the value is changed. So the color is changed now. So that's it. I just created one variable named var1. So as you can see, I just stored this 20 number in this variable 1. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to echo this variable 1 in a simple way. I'm going to print this variable 1 in our display. So and for that, if you ever wanna print the variable, so you can directly use the dollar symbol and your variable name, which is nothing but the variable 1, var1. And as you can see, we got this 20. Now you can write anything in here. For example, let's say 20 plus 5, we got 25. You can use summation, multiplication, division, whatever equation you wanna use, you can do it in here. Now even you can add the string in this echo. You can add multiple value at the same time. For example, let's say I wanna print variable 1 equal to variable 1 value. So and for that I am going to directly just use the double quotation and I am going to write variable 1 and then gem. Then I am going to use the comma. Let's reload this page. As you can see, we got variable 1 gem 25. Now this is nothing but the integer value. Now if you don't notice, integer, string, double, float, whatever number there is integer. If you have text, it's string. If you have point value, it's float, and so on. So if you know basic of programming, any programming, you know what is this. So now let's create another data type, another variable. So variable 2 equal to, I'm going to write a text and I'm going to store the text. It means I'm gonna use the string data type. So let's write hello. Now because this is the integer, I am going to write integer variable 1 and then I'm going to copy this line and paste it in here, and then I'm going to change this integer. You don't have to do this again. This is just a formality to show you guys what is integer, what is float. If you don't write this line, it will work perfectly fine. So I'm going to change this integer to, let's say, string, and then I'm going to print the variable 2. Now don't forget to add the semicolon. So let's reload this. Now as you can see, we got integer variable 1 25 and string variable 2 hello. Now in here we need a new line because this all is happening in a single line. So if you know HTML, you know how to do this, and for that we are going to use the br tag in the echo. So directly just write echo, then directly put the tag br in here, and don't forget to add this semicolon. So as you can see, you got integer variable 125, string variable 2 hello. Now let's create a float, and for that I am going to write variable 3 equal to point value. Any point value you can write in here. I am going to add 9.7. So I am going to copy this line and paste it in here. Now this is my float variable, so I am going to change this to float, and I am going to change this variable 2 into 3. Okay, let's reload this. Oops, I have to put a new line br tag in here. So let's try this. As you can see, we got integer, string and float. These are the main data type which we are going to use. There are lots of like complex, double. There are lots of data type available, but we are going to simply use these 3 main data type. Okay, so that's it. Now that you know what is data type, how to create a variable. So now let's move on. Now don't forget, if you want to separate a variable from string, so you have to use this parameter, comma. Please remember this. So now that you know all the data type, I'm going to remove all of the data types except integer. Now if you don't want to put this comma in here, so what you can do, you can use the point dot in here, and if you try this it will work too. But if you forgot this, so you will get error. As you can see, parse error. So please remember to add dot or comma in here. So let's try with dot. You can see it's perfectly working. Now if you know Python, you know the print statement. In this PHP you got print statement too. If you write print. Now basically these all are the Linux command. If you know Linux, you know everything basic about PHP. So if you write print, it will work fine. You can either use echo or you can either use print. Now there are other data types too. Let me tell you all of the data type. First of all is integer, which contains a number. The second one is float, which contains a float value like point value. For example, 9.73, so on so. The third one is string, which will contain a text value. The fourth one is boolean, which will contain true and false, a single value, 1 or 0, true or false. The next one is arrays, which will contain multiple data value. Next is object, which we can use to specify the particular object. Then we got null. If you don't wanna add any value, you can use the null value. Obviously from its name you know what is it. And then we got resource. Now in the previous example we just saw that we used a lots of data type. As you can see, this is our code. Now how do we know what data type we are using in here? And for that we got a function available. For example, let's try with this variable 1. So obviously we are using the integer value. So if you wanna literally see what data type we are using, so what you can do, you can directly use the variable dump function. I'm going to remove this and I'm going to directly write variable dump. As you can see, var underscore dump. Let me remove all of this for now. So if you reload this, as you can see, we got integer 25. In a simple way, we can see what data type we are using. As you can see, because we are using the integer, we got integer. Let me change the value of integer variable 1. So if we change the value to, let's say, 20.78, as you can see, this is now float value. Now if I reload this, obviously as you can see, we got float. Let me reload this again. So let's try to add the string in here, sub bro, and let's me reload this. As you can see, we got string of 8 and so on. So you can find any data type you want using the var dump function. Now the next data type is boolean. So let me try true. So you can see, if we reload this, you can see we got bool, which is short for boolean. Now the next data type is object. We are going to use object when we use the class. Okay, so that was the data types and that was the best way to find what data type we are using. Okay, so now let's move on. Now what we are going to do, we are going to use a string methods. So we are going to use the string method. Now the first one is length, str len. Now with the use of this function you can find how much length is in your variable. For example, let's say $x equal to, let's say I got some text, subscribe bro, this is my text. So if I want to find the length of this particular variable, so what I can do, I can directly use the echo because I want to print this length in here. Then you can use directly strlen, which is inbuilt function. Then just pass the variable x or whatever variable you are using, variable name. Then use the semicolon. So as you can see, we got 14. Now remember, this will count space and special character too, so don't forget it. So that was the basic and easiest way to find the length of the string from your variable. But let's say you don't want to find every single character. Let's say you want to find the word. So what you can do, obviously you can use the inbuilt function word count, and for that just write str underscore word underscore count. So as you can see, we got two words, subscribe and bro. So that's why it just gave me 2. Let's change it to, let's say, this is Logan. So we got 3 word now. So let me reload this. As you can see, we got 3 in here because this is counting the word now. Now the next interesting function is to reverse the string. Let's say you wanna reverse this string. So what you can do, you can directly use the function strrev, which is nothing but the string reverse. Str then rev, string reverse. So if you reload this, as you can see, we got this Logan in a reverse format. Okay, so the next interesting function is to search a text. Let's say I wanna find the Logan from this text. Let's say I got a huge lines of text. So let's say I wanna find some particular word. So what I can do, I can directly use inbuilt function strpos, and in this function, first of all, let me use the strpos, and in here you have to obviously first pass what string you wanna find from, and then you have to pass what word you wanna find. So let's say I wanna find Logan. So if I run this program, as you can see, we got 8. Now why we got 8? Because this is the starting location of our word. For example, 1 2 3 4. Remember, it will count space to 5 6 7 and 8. From 8 location, the Logan word is starting. So that's the best way to find the particular word from your string. Now the next one is replace. Now how to replace some particular word from string. Let's say I want to change the Logan, this is Logan, to this is Wolverine. So what I can do, I can use the inbuilt function str replace, and for that I have to write 3 argument. The first one is what word you wanna change. Let's say I wanna change the Logan, and from Logan what you wanna change to. So let's say I wanna change Logan to Wolverine, and then you have to pass your string, which is nothing but the $x. Don't forget end colon semicolon. So you can see my text, my string is changed because it changed it Logan to Wolverine. So this is the best way to replace any word from your string. Again, remember, if I write again Logan in this twice, so if I run this, it will change Logan twice, or how as many as time you put whatever word in your string, it will change it to whatever changes you made in here. So that's it. That was the easiest way to do any operation with the string. Now that was the basic operation of string. I highly suggest you to rewind this string part and watch it again if you forgot it. So now let's move on. Now the next one is number. In here we are going to change the x of string to number. Let's say 8.9, then semicolon. Now the obviously first we are going to see what data type it is, and for that directly just write var dump, then pass the variable name using the dollar symbol, and then end colon semicolon. So let me run this. As you can see, we got float, but we are going to use the integer for our operations. So let me remove this 0.9 to only 8. As you can see, we got now integer 8. Now how to find is this number is integer or other data type? For that we got a mini function, is this is the integer, and for that you can directly use is underscore integer. Is this variable is integer? So let me reload this. So as you can see, we got the boolean data type true. Yes, this is the integer. Let me put this in the echo. So if I write echo, then if I print this is integer, I use this inbuilt function is integer, so it will give me this 1. 1 means true and 0 means false, means yes, this is integer. But let me change this 8.7 because now this is not integer obviously. So if I reload this, I will get 0. Now 0 is for false, and that's why I didn't got anything. But if I reload it again, so as you can see, because this is an integer, so that's why you got 1. Now you can change integer to float, string, whatever. Let's try with float. If this is a float, let me run this. Obviously this is not a float, that's why we didn't got anything. But let me reload this to 8. Let's say 5. So if I reload it again, obviously I'm gonna get 1, as you can see, just like this. So because this is the float, that's why I got float 1. Now how to find the value is infinite or not? Infinite means this is kind of data type. If you wanna find your value is infinite or not, so what you can do, let me first write the infinite value, and for that I am going to just write, let's say 1.9 e 411. So this is nothing but the infinite value. Now I can use directly variable dump to see what value we got in here. So if I try this, so if this is infinite, so obviously I'll get infinite, or else I will get whatever data type is this value is. So let me reload this. So as you can see, we got INF, which is nothing but short for infinite. So yes, this value is obviously infinite. Now let me create a null value, and for that directly use the ACOS function. Let me write 9, and in here if I reload this, as you can see, we got float none. So this is the none value. Now in here I created a lots of x variable. The first one is number, the second one is string, the third one is string plus number, and the fourth one is obviously string. And then I am checking is this is a numeric value, and guess in which line I will get 1 and which line I will get 0. In a simple way, in which line I will get true and in which line I will get false. So let's try. So the first one is obviously true, because obviously this is the number value, but the second one is also true. Why? I know this is the string value, but in this string value we got a number. You can change this data type to a number, so obviously this is the number. But if I write h, so it will automatically redirect to false, as you can see, just like this. In a simple way, no matter is your value is in the quotation or not, but if it is a number, this function can identify if this is a numeric value or not. The third one is true. Why? Because string is nothing but the number plus 100. So obviously this is the numeric value, obviously, because if you increment 100 plus 5 9.85, now this is the string, but you can do it. So obviously we'll get the number. So that is why this is the numeric value. And the last one is hello, which is obviously not a numeric value. That's why I got false in the last one. Now let's print this particular first code. In here we are simply going to print this echo. Now guess what will be the output if I print this $x. So pause the video and guess. So let's run it. As you can see, we got 159.85, which is the exact number 100 plus 59.85. It doesn't matter your string is your value is in the quotation or not. If this is a number, you can do anything related to math with that particular. Okay, so the next thing we are going to learn is how to cast a variable. Let's say we got this float in here. Let's say this is our float number. Now if you want to change this float to an integer number, so what you can do, you can directly use integer. So I'm going to create a new variable. If you directly want to print, you can do it too. Let's say $y equal to, I'm going to store x but in an integer format, and for that you gotta write a round bracket integer or whatever data type you wanna change it to. But let's say I wanna change this x into the integer, that's why I'm using integer, obviously. Then you gotta pass the variable name, which is nothing but $x. So now in the y variable, x integer is stored. Now if I try to print the echo of, let's say $y, so I'll get 59, because if you change float 59.85 to integer, so it will obviously will get first two number 59. So let's reload this. As you can see, we got this 59, but let's change it to string. So let's try string. So I'm going to change this to string, obviously. As you can see, we got this 59.85, but it's a string format. So that is the best way to cast a variable from a data type to another data type. Okay, so now let's quickly review the math function. So the first math function is pi. How to get a pi value? So directly you can write echo. Then there are lots of math function available. So obviously, because I want the pi, obviously I'm gonna use the pi function. So you can directly call the pi function, and let's reload. As you can see, we got the pi number, and let's say we got a lots of number array. I'm gonna talk about this in a minute, but let's say I got this value. Let's say $x equal to, let's say I got 4, 89, 12, 90, 0. So let's try to use echo. So if I want to find the minimum, the smallest value, so what I can do, I can use the min function, min. So I will get the smallest number from this list, or you can say tuple. So if I pass the $x, because that's from where I wanna find the smallest number. So if I reload this, as you can see, obviously we got this 0. Now because this smallest number from this list is 0, I know I changed the round bracket to square bracket, but I'm gonna talk about this in a minute. So just let's focus on this function. So with the use of this min function, I can find obviously the smallest number, but what if you wanna find the biggest number? But first let's change the smallest number to, let's say, -3. So it should be -3, as you can see, just like this. And if you wanna find the biggest number, so what you can do, you can directly use the max function, and obviously you got 90 because this is the biggest number there is in this list. So that was the best way to find the biggest and smallest number from your data. Now if you wanna find the absolute value, so you can directly use the ABS function. So for example, let's say I got this number -9.78. Okay, this is my number. Oops, I accidentally put equal to in here. So this is my -9.78 number. So what I wanna do is I only want the absolute value. So what I can do, I can obviously use the ABS, which is nothing but the absolute value function. This is inbuilt. So as you can see, I got 9.78. So that's it. Now if you wanna find the square, so what I can do, I can use the square sqr function. Let's try that to sqr. So if I reload this, as you can see, we got the square of 64. Sorry, sqrt, square root of 64 will be 8. Obviously, as you can see, we got this. Now if you want the round value, for example, so you can do round. You can use the round function. Let's say I got 0.70, let's say. So 0.70 round is around 1, and 0.30 is, I think, 0. Now if you wanna find the random number, so you can use the rand function, rand function, and you don't have to pass any number because it will return the random number. So as you can see, this is the random number. Whenever I reload this page, it will give me the random number. But let's say you want the minimum and maximum value from random number. For let's say, for example, you want the random number but from 0 to 10. So what you can do, you can pass 0, 10 in here. So it will give you the random number, only one single value, because we put the 0 to 10. Let's say if I put 100, so it will give me the random number from 0 to 100 randomly, as you can see, just like this. Okay, that's it. That was the math part of the PHP. Now let's move on to the constant. Now if you guys know what is constant is nothing but the value, a data type which value will never change. It's constant, it can't change. Now the constant is a little tricky part, so please stay focused. Now if you ever wanna create a constant value, you have to define the constant value first, and for that you have to use the define function. Now in this define function, you have to pass the two parameters. The first one is constant name, the second one is constant value. For example, let's say I want my constant name, let's say cnst, which is my constant name. You can name it anything, I just named it cnst, and please remember this is the case sensitive. Okay, so this is my constant name. Now what I wanna do, I simply wanna pass the value of this particular constant. So you can add any value you want, but I'm going to add the text login. So with the use of this line, you can create a constant. Now please remember, if you ever want to create a constant value, you have to first define the constant using the define function. The two parameter will be, the first one obviously is the constant name, and the second one is the constant value. Okay, that's it. That's the way to create. Now how to print this constant? This is very simple. You can directly echo $cnst, because this is my constant name, isn't it? Now if you don't wanna put the dollar sign, it will work fine. As you can see, I got the log because this is not a variable, this is a constant, that's why. And if you put the dollar symbol, it will not print that particular, because it will think that this is the variable. Remember, this is not a variable, this is a constant, a type of variable. I mean, here you can even create a list. For example, if I create a list, I know you guys don't know what is list and what is array for now, but you can add any data type in here. For example, let's say 1 and 2. So as you can see, you got arrays. You can add any data type in here. And please remember, constant is the global variable. You can use it in whatever code you wanna use in. Okay, so that was the constant. We are gonna talk constant later in a deep, but for now that's done. Now let's move on. We are gonna move on to the operators. Now I'm not gonna show you plus, minus, division, multiplication and so on, so basic operator. I'm gonna show you just the important operator there is. Let's say we got two variable, a equal to 10 and b equal to, let's say, 20. So first of all, we are gonna see the comparison operator, and for that I'm going to directly use it in here. So first of all, a equal to b is a equal to b. Obviously I have to write the dollar symbol in here. So let's run this. It will give us the boolean value is 10 equal to 20. Obviously not. Is 10 a value of a equal to 20 value of b? Obviously not. The a is 20 and b is 20. A is 10 and b is 20. So if I run this code, I will get nothing because this is the false. But if I change the value of b equal to 10, or you can change the value of 20, it depends on you. Let's say both variable value are same, so and so I will get 1 true. As you can see, we got 1. But let's say the b is string, so what will I get? Let's run this code. As you can see, we still got 1, but why? This is the string and this is the integer, and for that basically these two are the same value, but I know this is the string and this is the integer, but this comparison operator equal to operator will check is a of value 10 is equal to b of value 10. It doesn't matter the data type, but if you even want to check the data type, you can put another equal to 3 equal to, and now if a and b value is the same and the data type is the same, so and so, it will give 1, or else it will give me the 0. So let's try it. As you can see, we didn't got anything because this is the string, but now if I change it to 10, as you can see, we got 1. Now let's change this to 20. Now there is not equal to. I think if you know basic of programming language, you know all of these operators, so I'm not gonna go deep into this operator part. So this is the not equal to. Is a is not equal to b? Yes, obviously a is not equal to b, but if I change this to 10, so obviously a is equal to b, so it's gonna give me the 1. Is a is less than b? Yes or no? Obviously it will give me the false, but if I change the b to, let's say, 50, so now yes, a is less than b, so it will give me true 1. As you can see, just like this, and we got greater than, so I gotta change these to 0. So as you can see, we got 1, and there is less than equal to, greater than equal to. There are lots of operator, and or. Let's use the and keyword. So and operator, and for that is $a equal to, let's say, 10 and $b equal to 0. So obviously this will give me the true, as you can see, just like this. But if I change only one value, let's say 9, so it will give me the false. As you can see, this is false. But if I change the and to or operator, so this will work perfectly fine. If you know and or operator, as you can see, I got 1. So there are lots of operators: plus equal to, minus equal to, identity, ternary, null, XOR, and or, exponential, and so on. So I'm gonna put all of the operator documentation link in the description, so please check it out if you wanna learn more about the particular operators. If you don't, let's move on. So that was it for operator. Now let's move on to the main part. Now please focus, this is the main part starting from now. If else condition. Let's say we got a variable. I am gonna use the a equal to 10 variable. So what I can do, if you wanna use the if else condition in here, so first you gotta write if keyword, then you gotta write the condition. So let's say if $a less than 10, then I have to start a block just like C, C++, Java. If you know C, C++ or Java, this is the same kind of method we use in there. So in a simple way, we are checking if this $a value is less than 10. Let's change it to 50 because I want this condition to run. Now if this condition is true, it will check in a boolean way. If this condition is true in a simple way, if this condition equal to 1, then this code run, or else is this code will not run simply. So let's say echo, I wanna print, let's say yup, I wanna just print that yup, that's it. So let's run this. As you can see, we got yup, but if I change the value of a into 80, so obviously this is not gonna work. Now this condition is not true, but what if you wanna put the last condition, else condition? If this condition is true, so happen this, but else do this, and for that there is else keyword too. For that else you gotta write whatever you wanna write in here. I'm gonna print the nop, only nop, and in here IOP, nop. Okay, so let's reload. As you can see, we got the nop, but if I change this value to let's say 10, so yup, and if I change this value to let's say 90, so I will get nop, obviously. So that's the if and else condition. You can write any condition in here, you can use any operator in here, it doesn't matter what operator you are using in here, as long as the condition is valid. There is another keyword too, it's called else if. Now if you want to make a second condition, let's say the first one is wrong, but if you want to try it again, so what you can do, you can create a else if condition. If this is not working, then it will try this. If this is not working, you can put as many as else if condition in here, it doesn't matter. You can put as many as else if condition in here. Let's say I'm gonna put 2 else if condition in here. So first of all, it will check this first, if this is true, then it will work, and all of the other will not work. But if this is not true, it will move on to next else if. If this is true, it will skip all of this and it will work only this. But if this is not true, then it will go on the next else if, and so on. So but if everything is not working, then only else will work. That's it. Okay, so let's say I'm going to, let's first change this to 10, and let's change this to 0, because I don't want to run this first condition, I wanna run this second condition. So that's why I'm gonna pass the second condition. A equal to 10. Is the value of a is equal to 10? Obviously yes. So I'm gonna print the elif yes in here. Here I'm gonna just put elif. This is the first elif, so I'm gonna write first elif. It doesn't matter what you write in here, I'm just showing you. So let's reload this. Now got this error because I'm not doing anything with this elif, so I'm gonna just for now remove this else if. Now let's run it again. As you can see, first elif yup means this first elif worked perfectly, but let's say equal to 0. I just changed it to 0 because I don't want to run this condition, I wanna run this condition. So second elif yup. So let's try this. I'm gonna change the first to second. So let's reload this. As you can see, second elif worked perfectly. So that is the if, else if and else condition. But if this condition not worked as well, let's say 90, so the last condition will work perfectly fine. So let me reload this. So as you can see, we got norm, which is nothing but the else, the last part. So that's it. That was the if, else if, and the else condition. That's it. Now let's move on to the for loop. Now how to create a for loop in PHP. It's a very simplest way to create a for loop. If you know C, C++, Python, or even Java, you know how to create a for loop. This is the same as the C, C++ or Java. Now PHP got while loop, do while loop, for loop, and even for each loop. So obviously we are gonna start with the while loop. Let's create an iterator. Let's say I equal to 0 because I want to create a loop from starting 0. Now if you don't know what is for loop is nothing but the code looper, means that particular code will loop again and again and again. It will run again and again and again until our condition. Again, that particular code will loop, means run again and again and again till our condition is true. If our condition is false, then it will stop. Obviously, that's the best and simplest logic for loop or while loop or do while loop. Some basic change, but let's start with the while loop for now. So in here, you gotta write the while keyword, then you gotta write the condition. Now I want to take the loop as long as the value of 0 is 10. So what I can do, loop my code until the $i less than equal to 10. It will start from 0 to 10. It means it will loop 11 times. But let's not confusing, and let's start with the 1. Okay, so this is not confusing. It will loop 10 times. Now how we are gonna increment this I? Obviously the operator is $i plus plus. That's it. Or you can use I plus equal to 1, or you can use I equal to I plus 1. It depends on you, but we gotta increment this I unless it will go on the infinite loop. Let's remove this and print something. Let's print $i. So this is the infinite loop. If I run this, it will go in the infinite loop and it will never stop, but we don't want to do this, and for that I am going to use the $i plus plus and semicolon. That's it. Now I am printing the I. So the first time I will be 1, then it will go in here and it will check the condition is 1 is less than or equal to 10. Obviously yes. So it will go in here, it will print 1, and then it will increment the I. So the first I was 1, and then now the incrementation is just happened and I will be 2. Now again it will check is 2 less than or equal to 10. Yep. So it will go in this condition and so on. So it will print 2 and so on. So but at the end, is 11 less than or equal to 10? No. So this condition will not work and it will go only for 10 times. So let's run this. As you can see, we got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. Let's put a br tag in here. Let me remove this echo and I'm gonna directly use the br tag. So let's reload this. As you can see, we got 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. You can change this to h1 tag too. This data is nothing but it's going on the web page, so you can do it whatever you wanna do. You can put css, you can use bootstrap to change the style and format of this data. You can change any property you want. For now I'm just printing this data. So that's the best way to create a while loop. Now I'm gonna put the condition in here. What I wanna do, if the number is even, I wanna change the text to, I wanna bold the text and I will change the text to h1, else I'm gonna leave as it is. So let's try that code now. And for that, first of all, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna check the condition if, then I'm gonna pass the condition $i module 2 equal to 0. So obviously this is the even number. So this is the logic. If you don't know what is the logic of even number, this is it. If I module 2 equal to 0, then it's even number. So I wanna bold the text. Let's first just print the I of even number. So whatever number it will just print the even number for now. So let's run this. As you can see, we got 2 4 6 8 10. Obviously I want the new line, so I'm gonna use the br tag in here, and then let's run it again. So if I refresh the page, as you can see, we got 2 4 6 8 10 in new line. So as you can see in here, I'm just changing the color of the even number. So I just use the p style equal to color. I just use the tomato color. Now for the else part, I am gonna change the color, or I can leave as it is, or let's run this. Wait a minute. I'm going to simply change the color. First of all, obviously I'm gonna copy this line and change the color to, let's say, green. So let's reload this. As you can see, this is the odd number and this is the even number. So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. So whatever odd number is 1 3 5 7 and so on, so, and the even number is 2 4 and so on, so that is the way to create a while loop, and that is the way to create if condition in the while loop. So that's it. That's our while loop. The next one is obviously for loop. But before for loop, I want to show you the do while loop. Now if the condition is not true, for example, let's say greater than, as you can see, this condition is not true. 1 is not greater than 10, so it will not work anytime, not a single time. As you can see, if I run this code, it will not give me anything. But what if you wanna check the condition last? In here, this is checking the condition in the first line. But what if you wanna change this, and if you wanna check the condition at the end of the code, and at least you wanna run your code first one time? So obviously you can use the do while loop, and for that you have to just do is, I'm gonna cut this. So the syntax is do everything in here and then check the condition in last, then you have to put the semicolon. So as you can see, do everything in this block but check condition in last. So obviously this all will work only one time, and then it will check this condition and then it will stop working. So let's try this. As you can see, I just got 1 because this will check all of this condition only 1, and then it will check the condition last. It will work all of this without checking. Okay, so now that you know what is do while loop, so now let's talk about the for loop. Now for loop is nothing but the loop with inbuilt iterators. For example, if you want to take a loop for 10, so you can directly do like this for, and then in here you have to write your variable name. So for example, I didn't have any I variable, so I can directly create a variable in here. So $I equal to 0, or let's say 1, because I want to start my loop with the 1. Then the second condition is that yes, we have to write the condition in here. This is our created iterator, means simple variable, and in here we are gonna create a condition. So I want to take my loop if my variable I value is less than or equal to 10, means I want to loop my iteration 10 times, and then I am going to increment the I. So this is the simplest way to create a loop, and this is the fastest way to create a loop in PHP. Then you can do anything in here, but I am gonna simply just print the I. Then I'm gonna print the new line, and for that I'm gonna use the br tag which we got in the HTML. So now let's reload this. So as you can see, we got the output in here 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 and 10. So that is the way to create a for loop. Now you can try as many as example you want. You can put if else, you can create a lots of function, you can create a lots of program using this for loop. But that's it, our story is done here using for loop. So now let's move on. Now the next one is for each loop. Now I know that I didn't explain what is array, but let's say if you got a multiple data value, so you can take a for each loop to iterate a one by one value. So this is the example of for each loop. In here, as you can see, for each is the keyword. Then you have to write, you have to create a variable, for example age, as x equal to value, means particular value. So in X it will store the keys, and in the value obviously it is gonna store the values. So this is like a dictionary if you know Python. I am gonna talk about this in a minute, what is array and what is for each loop, but this is just an example because we are talking about the loops, and this is the kind of loop we got in PHP. Okay, so we are gonna move this code for later. Now let's move on. Now we got break and continue. For example, let's say I have one variable I equal to 0, and let's say I am looping this. I'm creating a iterator. You can take any loop you want, but I'm gonna take a while loop, and in here obviously I'm gonna write a condition. My condition will be dollar symbol I less than equal to 10 because I want to take only 10 iterator. Then I can do is dollar I plus plus. So that's it, and in here I'm gonna just print the $I. That's our simple program. So as you can see, we got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But what if I want to break the loop, means stop the loop, when the value of $I is equal to 4. So what you can do, you can create a condition, and for that simply I'm gonna go in here above the echo. Then in here I'm gonna write the condition if dollar of I equal to 5, then if this condition is true, then I want to stop, I want to break the loop, then simply just write the break keyword, and that's it. If I run this code, oops, I accidentally put the semicolon in here. Let's run it again. So as you can see, we only got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because if I equal to 5, then I want to break the loop. So that is the way to break the loop. Now this break keyword can use in any loop, while loop, for each loop, any loop available, do while loop. So that is the break. But what if you want to run this at least one time? So you can use the continue. Let's run this code again. This is the continue keyword. So I changed the code. As you can see, I am using the for loop in here. You can use while loop, you can use do while loop, you can use for each loop, you can use any loop to use continue. But because we used while loop in the previous example, so I thought that like let's use this for loop. So in here, as you can see, I am looping this iterator like 10 times. But what continue keyword do is that if x equal to 4, means in here if x equal to 4, then it will skip that particular code, only code, it will not stop the whole execution, it will just skip that particular line. So as you can see, we got 0, we got 1, we got 2, we got 3, but we didn't got 4. Why? Because it skipped, because of the continue keyword. And then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on. So in a simple way, if you use the break keyword, let's try break, so it will obviously gonna stop the whole code after the break keyword. But if you use the continue keyword, continue, so obviously it is gonna skip the particular code, particular line, it will not stop the whole execution of for loop or while loop or whatever loop you are using. So that is the continue and the break keyword. Okay, so now let's go on the function. Now if you guys don't know what is function, function is nothing but a container where we can store the code and we can use whenever we want. And there are like a lots of inbuilt function available. For example, if you remember, we used a math function. For example, minimum is the main function, maximum is the main function, then we got pi, we got a lots of inbuilt function which do nothing but it will execute a particular code and it will give us the output, return the output. In a simple way, function takes the argument and return the logic. So let's create our own function. So how to create a function? And for that you have to do nothing, just simply write the function and the function name. Let's say I want to create a function related to print something. Let's say I want to print happy birthday, so I'm gonna create hb function name happy birthday, and in here you have to write the, this is the parenthesis, you have to create a parenthesis. In here you can create an argument, but we don't want to create argument in our first function. Argument is nothing but we can pass the variable which we can use in our function, and we can return and we can execute this particular thing. So we are not gonna create argument for now. We are simply gonna just create the echo function, and in here we are gonna simply print the happy birthday. That's it. We don't want to do nothing. When you can create a font in here, because literally this is the HTML. You can add even CSS. So as you can see, I just added the h1 tag, and I just added style color red. If you know HTML, you know what is this. And that's it. That's our function. Now whenever you create a function, obviously you gotta call the function. So this is our function, and we can use this function as many as time we want, even as many as time when we can call it this function. We can use in or any code, even other files in a simple way. This is nothing but a code container which we can use whenever we want simply. So let's call this function. So this is our function. Now we gotta call this function. Now to call function, this is very simple. Just write whatever your function name is, then parentheses, then the semicolon, because we are using PHP. Then run the program. So as you can see, we got happy birthday. Now it doesn't mean that you can call this function only one time. You can call this function as many as time you want in your life. As you can see, I called a lots of time this function, and if I run this, as you can see, we got a lots of time happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday. But what if you wanna change the name? For example, let me remove this style because I don't know why it's not working. I think we got some error in here. Now what I wanna do is I want to add the name of the user. So we are gonna use the parameters. Now whenever I call this function, I want to add the particular username. For example, let's say this is my birthday, Logan's birthday. So if I say Logan, so it will show me the happy birthday Logan. And if I say, let's say this is the James birthday, so it will show happy birthday James, and so on. So how we are gonna do this? And for that you gotta pass the variable in here. You can name it anything. I'm gonna name it name, and that's it. Now we got one problem in here. If you call the program without adding the name, it will give me the error. As you can see, we got fatal error. Now the error is because we are passing the name variable in here, but we are not passing that particular value in here. So we gotta pass the value in here. So as you can see, whenever I'm calling the function, I have to pass the value. So let's pass the Logan, for example. Let's reload this. As you can see, now it's perfectly working, but we can't see Logan anywhere. So now what is happening, that we are getting the name from whenever we are calling, but we are not using that particular name. So obviously what you can do, you can directly use the echo, then you can directly use the name, $name in here, and then I am gonna create another echo for closing the h1 tag. Close the h1 tag. That's it. Now let's reload this. So that's it. As you can see, we got happy birthday Logan. Now if I call this function again, and let's say I don't want to add the Logan name, I want to change the name to James. So let's say James. So if I reload this, I will get another happy birthday for James. As you can see, just like this. So that is the way to create a function. Let's create another. Let's say this is the Bob's Burger birthday. So I'm gonna add the name Bob. So if I reload this, as you can see, we got Bob too. So we got birthday of Logan, James, and Bob, and so on. So you can call this function as many as time you want, and that is the way to create a function with the parameters. Okay, now let's create a mini function to create a calculator. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a function in here. I'm gonna name it cal. You can name it anything. Now I want two variable, number 1 and number 2, because you can't create anything without, you can't calculate anything without two number. So I'm gonna name it number 1 comma $sign number 2. That's it. We just passed the two value in a parameter. So now what I wanna do is, first of all I need the summation. So what I'm gonna do, echo, I'm gonna directly write number one, or you can use directly $sign number 1, then comma, then plus, because I'm using the summation for now, then
$sign number 2 in here I forgot one, $sign number 1 plus $sign number 2, then again equal to, because we need kind of space, so I'm gonna add the space in between every special character, and then I'm gonna create a logic which is nothing but the number 1 plus $sign number 2. That's it. Now if I run this, call this function, let's call it so cal. Now obviously I have to pass two values this time, because if I only pass one it will give me the error, because we are creating a two variable in here. So obviously let's try 10 and 10. So if I reload this, as you can see we got 10 plus 10 equal to 20. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna copy this line and create a whole calculator, minus, division, multiplication and so on. So plus, minus, multiplication, division, that's it for now. Plus, minus, multiplication and division, then I have to change in here to minus, multiplication, and this is the division. So now let's change the value, let's say 45. Let's reload it. You can see we got a lots of this, but now I have to create a br in the last. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna simply put the br to create a new line in here, and for that I'm gonna use the comma and this. So I'm gonna copy this and paste it in here in every end of the every line, and that's it. Let's reload it. As you can see we got perfect calculator. You can add as many as number you want, it will give me this perfect calculation, plus, minus, division, multiplication and so on. So okay, so that's it. We can change the number even. Let's try 5 and 4. As you can see we got this output, 5 plus 4 9, 5 minus 4 1, 5 into 4 20, 5 divided by 4 1.25 and so on. So that is the way to create a calculator using the function. Even you can specify the data type. For example, let's say I just want the integer, so what I can do, I can write integer and then dollar name. Let's say I want the string in here, so I can write, let's say float, so I can write float in here. You can even select the data type in a simple way, but I don't want to do this for now. Okay, so that was the function. Now I hope you guys understand what is function, how we can use the function, why we need function. So now let's move on. Now the next thing we are gonna learn is the arrays. Now arrays is nothing but a lots of data values in a single variable. Let's say I want to create a result for my students. So what I have to do, I have to create a lots of variable like student 1, student 2, student 3, a lots of variable, but I don't want to do this because I'm so freaking lazy. So what I can do, I can create an array, for example AR, and I can store lots of variable in that array, for example student 1, student 2 and so on. So that what array is. Now let's create an array in PHP. Now to create an array, obviously you gotta create a variable. So for example you can name it anything. I'm gonna name it, let's say a equal to, and then you have to use the array keyword, then you have to pass the number. So let's say you can add any data type you want in here, but I'm using integer for now. You can add number, string, character, whatever you want in here. So let's try with the number for first example, and that's it. This is our array. If I print the array, so as you can see I'll get my array. Oops, I forgot the end colon in here. As you can see we got array. Now this is directly printing array, but we can't see any value in here because this is showing me a whole array. But if I want to see a particular value using the echo, because we are using echo, so what you have to do, you have to specify the address of array. Now remember, every value, if you know C, C++, Python, Java in array, so every element got one address, and address start with the 0. So for a first element the address will be 0, the second element address will be 1 and so on. So if I want to fetch the first element, so what I can do, I can write in the bracket 0, so it will give me the first element. If I write 1, so obviously it will give me the second element. So that is the way of array. Let's say you wanna find how much data we got in our array in a simple way. Let's say you wanna find the length of array. So what you can do, you can use the inbuilt function count, and you have to just pass the variable name. So as you can see, we got 5 element in our array. Okay, so now let's change the value of array and let's iterate this array. So I'm gonna use the string in here, ab, then c, and then d. That's it for our example. Now in here we are going to use the for loop to iterate the array. You can use for loop, you can use while loop, you can use any loop, because you know that if the address of the first element is 0 and so on, so it's incrementing. So obviously we can use any loop in here. So let's try with the for loop. So obviously I'm gonna start with for loop. Let me remove this variable because we don't need this variable. So dollar symbol I equal to 0, I less than equal to, let's set length of array, because we wanna go array till or array data. So what we can do, you can use the count, because I just explained you what is count. Then you gotta pass this variable in here, obviously. Then I plus plus, dollar symbol I plus plus. Okay, so that's it. That is the way to iterate the array. Now what will happen is, it will start I with the 0, because the first element start with 0 obviously. Then it will go till the data element. Now the length of the array is 1, 2, 3 and 4. So it will go till the 4. In a simple way it will loop 4 times. So let's try how many times is looping. So I'm gonna simply just print the I. We don't need to iterate array for now. So let's see how many times it is looping. Now I think this is not working in here. So what I can do, I can put alien in here and I can use the alien equal to count, and I can store that particular value. Let's reload this. Oops, I forgot dollar symbol in here and in here too. I don't know what is happening. So let's reload this. Okay, so it is saying that length is inbuilt function. So let's just change the name length to L. So as you can see, it's looping 4 times. We got 0, 1, 2 and 3. So we can, in a simple way, we got the address of all of the element like 0, 1, 2 and 3. So now that we got the address, what you can do, you can directly print the element. You can directly use the element. For example, let's say dollar of a in a square bracket dollar of I, because the dollar of I is nothing but 0, 1, 2 and 3. So if I print this, I will get a, b, c and d. As you can see, we got a, b, c and d. Now you can use the br tag to create a new line. It depends on you what formalities you want in here. So let's reload this. Oops, and colon. So as you can see, we got a, b, c and d in a new line. So that is the way to iterate the arrays. So this was the single type array, classic array. Now there are a lots of types of array available. So now let's move on to the second type, associative array. Now if you know Python and you know dictionary, this is one kind of array just like dictionary if you know Python. So in a simple way, in associative array, you have the keys and the value. You can create as many as keys and as many as value. Let's try. So obviously I'm gonna create the associative array in here. Now what you have to do, you have to create a keys and the value. Let's say these all are in here is our keys, a, b, c, d and is keys, or, and in here if you want to create a value, so you have to use the equal to and the greater than symbol, and then you can add any data type. Even you can add the array in here, but I'm gonna simply just write value. Let's say 23. So that is our key and that is our value. So this is called the dictionary in Python, but in here it's called associative array. So let's try again. Let's say 45, and in here I'm gonna add let's say 6, and in here let's add 9. So this is our array, associative array. Now in before example we were using the address like 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4, but in here we are gonna use the keys to fetch particular element. For example, let's say I want the first element, so what I can do, obviously $a, and in here in the square bracket, now in previous example we are using the address, but in here obviously we are gonna use the keys. Now this called keys and this called values, remember. So the keys of 23 is a. In a simple way, the first element key is a. So let's try to fetch the first element. So if I reload this page, and boom, we got 23, and so on. So you can, it doesn't matter that I in here, as you can see, I am using this simple single character. Now you can use as many as big character you want in here. So if I try login, as you can see it will perfectly work. Let's try login to fetch the particular command. Boom, we got 23. Okay, so that's it. Now in here, let's say I wanna find the 6 value. So what can I write? Please comment me. Hold the video and please comment. So obviously we are gonna write C because I want to find the 6, because the value of C is 6 and the keys of 6 is C. Okay, so now let's use the for each loop. Now in the previous loop section we just forgot to use, we skipped the for each loop because we didn't know what is array. So now that you know what is array and what is associative array, so now let's use the for each loop. Now in here obviously you gotta write the for each, and in here you have to create a two variable to store the keys and the values. Now in here the first element will be your dictionary name or your associative array name. So in here our associative array name is a. Then you have to write the as keyword, $a as. Now keys and value, so create a new variable k. Then you have to use the equal to and less than, greater than. Then create another variable for values. That's it. And now if you print keys only, let's try to only print key, it will give me the keys. Let's try. As you can see we got login, B, C and D. Let's try to put it in new line every time we use. So as you can see we got all of the keys. Now let's print the value 2. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna create a keys equal to, then comma, dollar symbol k, then again string value equal to, then again obviously I'm gonna use the dollar symbol v. That's it. Now if I reload this, as you can see, key is equal to login, and oops, I have to put the space in between values. As you can see we got key is equal to login and value is equal to 23, key is equal to me and value equal to 45, key is equal to c and value equal to 6, key is equal to d and value equal to 9. Now what is literally happening in here is we just use the a to iterate all of the array, associative array. Now what will happen is it will use the a as the reference to loop the values, and it will store all of the keys in the k, and it will install all of the values in the v, and we can use both variable as we want in here. Okay, so that was the multi associative array, and you can call it dictionary too if you are Python developer. So that's it, that was the associative array. Okay, so now let's talk about the multi-dimensional array. Let's say we got a variable named a equal to, obviously we are gonna create an array, but in this array we are gonna create a lots of stuff. In this array we are gonna create another array. You can name it anything. I'm gonna add a value like login, and let's say a, and oops, I am out of the array, and then b, and then nobody. That's it, that's my value. And again I'm gonna create a new array in this old array. Obviously it called multi-dimensional array. So as you can see, I am adding a lots of value in here, and in here I am gonna again create an array. You can add any value you want, but that's it for now. So this is called a multi-dimensional array because we got lots of array in our array. Now even you can do like this. I know this is kind of tricky part, but you can even do like this: in array, in array, in array. I got another array. So let's say 2 and 3. Yes, it will work perfectly fine. Array 4 and 5. You can even create like these two. So this is called a multi-dimensional array. In a simple way, array in array in array in array and so on so. If you got two or more arrays in a single array, it means it called multi-dimensional array. Now let me remove this because you will be confused if I leave that in here. So let's try to print array. Now obviously in before example, if you wanted the first element, so what you can do, you can write a of 0, so you'll get the first element. But in here if we write a of 0, so as you can see in here I changed the value of a into Volvo, BMW, Saab, Land Rover and a number. So let's try to print a particular value so you can understand better. Now in here what I'm gonna do, first of all I'm gonna try to print an A. So let's see what we got in here. As you can see we got array. Now let's try to print a of 0. Let's try. Oops, I forgot to add a in here. Let's try. As you can see we got again array. Now in here this is printing this first line because a of 0 means this first. Now let's try it again. A of 0 of 0. Now let's reload this. As you can see we got the Volvo. Now what is happening in here is that when you write a of 0 means any address, so it will first grab the whole array and we will get the array. But if you write again a of 0 of 0, so it will give me the first. Now if I write a of 1, so obviously it is gonna give me the 22. Now let's try this. As you can see we got 22. Now what if I change this 0, 1 and 2. Let's try to change this. Now please comment me, hold this video and please comment me what will I get. So now the address in here is 2, so it will go on the second line, means second address of line. So 0, 1 and 2 means in here, and in here I just pass the 1, so 0 and 1, so I will get 5. Obviously let's try. As you can see we got 5 in here. So that's how these things work. Now let's try 3 of, let's say I want the 15, so 0, 1 and 2, so I have to write in 2 in here, and boom we got 15. So that is the multi-dimensional array. Now I don't wanna get into deep into this multi-dimensional array, but when we are gonna create a project we are gonna use this multi-dimensional array a lots of time. Now let's try to sort an array. Now that's done. The multi-dimensional array is end in here. Let's say we got cars equal to Volvo, BMW and Toyota. Now this is my car. Now what if I want to sort this array? Sort means let's try sort, which is the inbuilt function, and just pass the cars in here, which is nothing but my variable name of array. So let's reload this. Oops, you can directly use this sort function to print this. You don't have to use the echo. Now the array is sorted. Now obviously we have to use the for loop to print the values. Now I am using the simple for loop to iterate the loop of array. As you can see now the first element was Volvo, but we got BMW because this is sorted as the alphabetical, means in the ABCD we got first B, then we got T and then we got V. So that is how this is sorted. That is the simplest way to sort the arrays. Now if you change this to a number, let's try that. Let's say 5, 3, 8, 90 and 1. So if you reload this, obviously you're gonna get 1, 3, 5, 8 and 90. This is ascending order. Then we got R sort. So if I change sort to R sort, means it will reverse descending order. As you can see we got the number in the descending order, so you can use the R sort to reverse the sort.
Then we have K sort to sort the dictionary, or you can say associative array. So that's it. That is the way to sort the array. Now this is kind of end of our video. Now the last thing we are gonna do is, in PHP we are going to print the server data. Now you can use the underscore server, capital server, to print the server data just like this. As you can see, first we got dollar symbol underscore server, and in here in a bracket you have to write what you wanna find. For example, we in here we have to find what is our server, what is our server name, what is your server host, what is your reference, what is your username, what is your script name. So with the use of this all method, you can write your server, you can find your server details. So let's reload this page. As you can see in here, the self means what file we are using. So first of all we got index.php, and really this is the index.php. As you can see, means all self server. Then we got server name. Now we got 000 because in here literally we are using the repl.com, so we will not get the actual server name, but if you are using the local host, you will get your local host id in here. If you are using the AWS, you will get the particular ID, means whatever ID you are using. Then we got the host. So this is nothing but the host, which is repl.com. As you can see, repl.com, this is our host. Then referrer means repl.com, obviously the website. Agent means Mozilla, whatever we are using in here, as you can see. And script name is nothing but the Safari. Chrome, because we are using the Chrome web server, that's why we got, and index.php. So that is the way to get the server details using PHP. Now that you know how to get the server, now we are gonna go right into the important part of PHP. PHP request. It means user input. Let's say in HTML we got a form like this. So this is our form. As you can see, when I reload this, I will get form like this. Now in here I am doing nothing, I am just using the form method of HTML, and I am using the post method in here, as you can see. And in here I am using a label to take the input, as you can see, name and equal to input. Now in here I am gonna save a name, f name, or you can change it to anything. Let's change it to only name. Then I am using a simple button to store the data or whatever I wanna do with this button. Now in here method equal to post, there is two kind of method, get and post. Post is secure, get is not secure. In a simple example, as you can see, whenever you search in Amazon something, it goes using get request, but whenever you save your password or whenever you save your username or email ID, it will go with the post method. So basically we are using the post in here. You can use get too, but it's kind of different code, a little bit different. Now the important thing in here in action, where we are going to reload the page when we click on the button. Now in here we are using PHP, so what we can do, we can use a short PHP code. Now in here we have to write echo, means print, then server. We are returning this page in our server or self in the index.html, means in our particular whatever file we are using in here. In the previous example I just showed you how to do this and what is the meaning of this. So in a simple way we are returning this page into this particular page. Okay, so now I can write anything in here. Let's try login. So as you can see, it's perfectly working, but now whenever I am clicking the submit, it's not working. So we have to write some code in the PHP. Now first of all we need to see if any user wrote any data and click on the submit. If we got the post data, when we got post data, we will get the post data when somebody write anything and click on the submit. So and so we will get the post data in a simple way. So we are gonna check if in here if condition. Now in the condition we are obviously gonna check if server request method equal to post. We are simply checking if method equal to post, so and so do this, else do that. So that is what we are doing in here. If request dot method equal to post, then do this or else do this. In a simple way, when somebody write any data in here and click on the submit, it will give us the post data. So whenever somebody do this, let's just print the something. Yep, we got
the data. That's simple way. Let's try to do this. Now let's reload this and let's add some data and submit. As you can see, we got the data. In a simple way, whenever we are doing this, we are getting the data. But how to get this particular data, Logan? So we are using the name in here and we are using the input. So what we are gonna do in here is, obviously I'm gonna create a variable name equal to, we are gonna get the data from the request underscore request, and in here I'm gonna pass the name because I am writing the name in here. Now if you are adding another text in here, so you have to write the same text in here because this is kind of a variable. So let's say I am writing age, so I have to write age in here, remember that. Okay, so with the use of this method I am getting a simply name from HTML to PHP. So let's try to print the name simply. So let's reload this page and let's try to add login. As you can see, we got the login in here because we are getting the request as a post, and in the request we got a lots of data, but the main data is name. That's it, that is the way. Now let's add two data in here. I'm gonna copy this and in here I'm gonna paste it, and I'm gonna pass the name. I'm gonna change the name to number 2, and in here I'm gonna change to number 1, and in here I'm gonna change to number 1, and in here obviously I'm gonna change to number 2. That's it. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab two value this time, obviously, because number 1 and number 2. Now in here I'm gonna create a mini calculator number 2, and in here number 1. Now I'm getting the two data. Now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna check the condition. Let's print all of the summation, multiplication, division. You can do it too, but if you want to take the condition, let's say you wanna ask the user what you want to do exactly, plus, division, multiplication, so you can do it too. Let's try operation equal to, and in here I'm gonna take another third input and I'm gonna name it operation. In here I'm gonna change this num to OP. You can name it anything. I'm gonna copy this, then paste it in here. I'm gonna change this to OP, then in here OP, then that's it. Now I'm getting the three variable. Now I can check if, now in here OP dollar symbol OP equal to plus, then do this, then I am simply gonna print number 1, then I'm gonna use the string plus, then number 2, then I'm gonna again use the equal to and space, then I'm gonna simply write number 1 plus number 2. That's it. That is the way. In here I forgot to add the dollar and number 2. Okay, so let's try. Let's reload this. So obviously I'm gonna add two number in here. Let's try 10 and 21. In here I'm gonna add the plus. If I click on the submit, as you can see we got 10 plus 21 equal to 31. It's perfectly working. Now let's try to add another operation, else if. In here I'm gonna copy this and paste it in here, but this time I'm gonna check if minus, then in here minus, and in here minus, and again I'm gonna copy this and then minus, multiplication and division. That's it. In here I'm gonna change to multiplication and division, again multiplication, division, again in here multiplication and simply division. That's it.
Now let's reload this, but in here I'm gonna at the end pass the else part if we got any error. So what we are gonna do, we are gonna print something went wrong, please add valid input. That's it. Let's try. Let's first try the else condition in here. Oops, we got, I forgot to add end colon. Let's try. I'm gonna add let's try, I'm gonna add 10 20, but this time in here I'm gonna add a bogus string. So if I submit, as you can see I got please add valid input. So now let's run it again, and this time I'm gonna pass the perfect value. So let's try 10 and 21, and in this time I'm gonna add, let's say, division. So let's try. As you can see, we got 10 divided by 21 equal to whatever number. So that is the way to create an calculator using the PHP and using the user input. This is an actual dynamic website. So I hope you guys understand all of this stuff. So that was the core PHP. If you want to go in the advanced, I'm gonna create a full advanced PHP in a one video. This was the whole PHP core in a one video. I hope you guys like this video. I made this video in a one day, and if you really like this video, please like this video, share this video with other programmer. And if you are new in this channel, I would really appreciate if you subscribe my YouTube channel and comment me what you wanna see more, and comment me what you liked about this video. So see you guys in the next video. That was the whole PHP core in a single video. So that is it for today's guys. Advanced PHP in one video will come soon. So see you guys in the next video. Till then, just code.